want to watch.
How's it going, guys? Welcome to Fatberg. Today we have a movie review for you. So this here is something, again, that I saw a long time ago and kind of had a middling opinion of it. Mainly, I remembered not liking the ending, and again, I saw this movie far too young. There's a lot of films like that in my back catalog here of things to review that are just movies I saw as a young man that I probably should not have. One of them on the list is the movie Happiness, and we'll probably be doing that one soon. Now, today we will be reviewing, and bear with me on this because this is in French. I think it is pronounced Dans Ma Peau, or In My Skin. This is a 2002 French film directed by, written by, and starring Marina. This film was part of a genre or movement of films, I guess, known as New Extreme films in France. A number of movies are considered a part of this movement. Viewers of this channel may be familiar with a Serbian film. However, In My Skin got to the show a little early. These movies covered extreme topics, usually violent in nature. Now, In My Skin could be considered something of a body horror film of sorts. Kind of. The plot following a woman named Esther. Esther works for a type of advertising firm, it seems. I'm not quite sure, but something like that. And one night at a party with her co-workers, she wanders off and falls in the dark, catching her leg on a metal object. She isn't aware till later that she actually suffered a serious injury during this. Her doctor and friends are concerned, particularly with the fact she didn't notice how bad the wound was, but Esther herself strangely becomes fascinated with the wound and develops a strange sort of, awareness of her own body, I guess. What we see from here is her slow mental decline as she struggles with self-harm and the stress of her job and maintaining personal relationships. The movie is considered by some an allegory for various things, including anorexia, but personally, while watching this, I viewed it with a more literal eye. The movie very realistically covers the topic of self-harm. Excuse the fucking censors. Again, YouTube will have my ass for even saying these things. I feel like some may have tried to interpret the movie differently, as the extreme acts in the film might at first glance appear a bit outlandish for reality, but as we will cover one day on this channel, one could consider the things she does in this movie tame compared to some of the real shit that's happened. Esther also struggles with anxiety as well as a feeling of losing control of her bodily autonomy. It's all portrayed very simply, I would say. There's not a lot of complex imagery and things going on here, but it's all flawlessly done at the same time, I feel. We see her struggle with asking friends for help, as well as fight with the idea of whether or not she wants it to begin with. And one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when the depersonalization starts to really set in. She is at a restaurant and begins to see her arm as though it is some kind of, silicone dummy.
Reste. Et puis, quand on étudie une langue, on a envie de la pratiquer. Le fait de parler japonais devait déjà être une motivation.
C'est sûr. Moi aussi, j'aimerais bien partir à l'étranger dans quelques années. Le groupe a des filiales dans beaucoup de...
She struggles to control it, and in an attempt to maintain composure, she begins another cycle of self-harm. Again, it's all a lot of slow build-up, and it kind of makes it harder to watch because it really lets you sit in the situation and what's happening. And from here, we see the problem starts to interfere with her work life and home life, and Esther begins to truly lose control of the situation. She also develops an obsession with her own skin, collecting remains of which after these events. The realistic part of this is, again, Esther doesn't really lose touch with reality. She understands that there is a problem, but is unsure of how to deal with it, and if she even really wants to, and it's just difficult to watch. And this all culminates in an extreme act near the end of the movie where she ends up peeling away a significant portion of the skin from her leg. And then the movie ends. And if that seems like an anticlimactic way to end the review, that was deliberate because that's exactly how the movie ends. We see a ton of build-up, and in the final moments, honestly, I didn't even get a vibe the movie was ending. I fully expected more, but nope, that was it. Final scene, credit roll. Now, with that said, after viewing this movie again with fresh eyes, I can say it's overall a very good film. Starting with the performance, and it's always a little difficult to rate the performance of people who speak a different language than you, but I felt it was excellent. Everyone did a great job. I have nothing bad to say about the acting here. The delivery felt fitting of every single scene, and again, just great acting. Moving on to the audio design, I loved it. There wasn't much score here, not a lot of music, but what music was there is pretty middling, actually. Wasn't all that great, but what the movie relies on is just the natural audio of the environment, and it's excellent. Scenes felt lively, and the dialogue, strangely enough, was easier to understand than some of the English-speaking movies I've seen. It was all front and center, and I could hear what the actors were saying. I just couldn't understand it. Why can't more movies focus on making sure we can hear the motherfuckers talk? Again, I love natural audio. They did great with the audio design. The effects as well, the physical effects, all practical shit, and it all looked great. Very realistic. They didn't show you too much, and I think that was probably a good idea because this wasn't, that big of a budget of a movie. What do we got here? I don't have a budget on here, but again, a good use of practical effects. It was all pretty hard to look at and gross. That's what we need. Now, moving on to the sets, they were all fine. Nothing to note here. It's just a urban French environment with some offices and shit here and there. The final scene, I suppose, in the hotel, it did look very gritty. Had a good vibe of like something bad is happening here, so that's one set I could say like, cool. And again, the overall plot and writing was great. This is a difficult topic to discuss in a realistic manner, and a lot of media uses this subject for dramatic effect and doesn't really accurately portray it. But again, this whole movie just feels real. Like we're actually seeing someone's downward spiral, and it's brutal to watch. I just wish a little bit more care was given to the ending. We're seriously bordering on Sopranos territory here. It just kind of cuts off. And I guess my final opinion on the movie, this is honestly one of the best movies I've seen this year. I mean, I've watched it before, as I said, but upon rewatching it, I loved it. It was a great movie. Mental illness is such a difficult topic to work with, and everyone's experience with it is different, so making something that feels real can seem kind of impossible at times, but Marina I think she did it here. I almost wish the movie was less graphic because it does make it somewhat unapproachable for most people, and I think this is a good watch if you want to get a look at, people's potential mental struggles. So my final rating and recommendation, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. Again, that's a good rating. I know some people think anything below like a 9 is bad. No, 7.5 is great. It didn't absolutely blow my mind, but it was overall, a good watch. And if you have a stomach for disturbing movies, I absolutely recommend watching it. So, thanks for watching my review here, and stay tuned for more. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I have the thing. Yeah. Yep, I bought this one. We'll put this over here in the disturbing movie rack where it belongs.